Thursday with two of my favorites, Kevin Frakes, the Lee Cox, Alton Little Theater. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning.
We're great. We're almost a week out from opening Ding Dong, and so I brought the star with me this morning.
Now, are you the mini timing lover in this, Kevin?
I am.
Oh, no.
It's not really supposed to, you don't think it's going to be that way, but everybody just kind of goes after him, so which is kind of fun, actually.
All the mature ladies, they're like, okay, there's a guy here. We're gonna go after him.
Well, that's great. I'm excited because Monday we're going to pop in during dress rehearsals and get a little bit of a preview package going because we're going to move theater Thursday to Friday next week because of some scheduling issues. But I'm excited to get a little bit of a preview of what's to come. Have ticket salesman going good?
Pretty well. Mother's Day, we're having a big celebration, and I know people have family things in, but I think it's the perfect gift if you haven't gotten anything for mom, you know.
Season tickets.
Season tickets, but even this is $20. We have champagne, we have a raffle, we have gift certificates from my Just Desserts to give away, so it's a really good deal.
Well, that's what I've been telling, because, I talk about you guys at least 4 times a week, and,
I know you do.
Try to make sure we talk, and that's my big pitch is, guys, why keep going to the same places every year for Mother's Day? They're getting burnt out of it.
Yes.
Go enjoy Alton Little Theater. There's not a bad seat in the house.
Well, no, and we're so reasonable.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, you go across the river, good luck finding anything that's, that affordable for what you're getting with the ticket.
And they can go out to lunch and come to the 2 o'clock matinee, or then go out to dinner afterwards.
That's
they can
right.
have the whole shebang. Get dressed up a little bit, have some fun.
I'm telling you what, I was talking to Mike Haynes, the Park and Rec director, who had season tickets for the 89 season, and said, CJ, I have never been so impressed in my life. This has been amazing. And they never bought tickets before, thought, let's try something new. And they were so happy with it. And I'm telling you what, you guys will be too.
Well,
I
that
think-
makes us happy.
Yeah, I think the word little theater sometimes, they think, it's just a little place to go and stuff. But, we do some fantastic shows there. And we've had so many of our regulars come up to us and say, they've canceled their tickets at the Fox. They've canceled the tickets to stages. They just come to us now.
Well, I get it because to me, you guys have great performers and the shows are amazing. That Violet Sharp, I'm still talking about. It was a great performance. Then just something that, to me, I being naive to this, when I went, I didn't expect, didn't know what to expect. And I go, why are you driving 40 minutes and dealing with the crime and then the traffic to get there?
And spending $100 a ticket.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, our 2 brand new players in the next show, they are so excited that you're coming Monday night. They're like, they're sort of in awe of everything and a little scared because they're like, nobody prompts you on your lines if you mess up? We're like, no.
You're on your own.
So you can't go, line.
Yeah. No, I said, that stops Sunday. You don't get that after tech rehearsal.
That is so great. And I'm telling you what, I'm excited about this. So take me through Ding Dong a little bit more because I've read this preview. I've kind of summarized it, but this is a whole lot of fun.
It is. Well, it boils down to this gentleman finds out in a strange way that his wife is having an affair. So he grabs her telephone and he texts the guy, and so he thinks it's coming from her, and he says, "Meet me at the house." So he thinks he's going to be meeting his lover. But he's actually meeting the husband. So he shows up, and of course they have a huge confrontation, and he gives him an option. He says, "Well, I could kill you, or let me sleep with your wife."
The negotiations on.
Yes. And so, of course, he doesn't want to be killed.
Right.
So he decides to bring his wife, and he invites him to dinner and stuff, thinking that he's bringing his wife. Well, he actually brings a prostitute. Because he does
a sophisticated call girl.
Yes, a sophisticated call girl. And because he didn't want to bring his wife. And so the fun starts there. But in the middle of all that, his wife actually shows up.
Uh-oh.
And so everybody's there now. So, and people start changing names, and they start doing all kinds of stuff. And
the maid has a crush on
the
you.
maid, all the women have crushes on the lead character. and it's just crazy. It is the craziest show.
It seems like there's a lot of moving parts to this where you are not going to be taking many breaths watching.
No, and I have like 400 lines.
Yes, he does. He does.
You're almost ready to campaign.
No, I'm
No, he's ready to kill me.
yeah, I'm ready to kill her. She goes, "Oh, you'll have so much fun in this show." I said, "Okay," and I picked it up. I went, "Have you seen these lines?"
What are you doing to me?
And of course, it's French, so we all had to have the French accent.
Now, that's an interesting topic because to me, I don't know accents or any type of dialect. So how do you prepare for some? I mean, are you at home using this, trying to get the...
Yeah, my wife, it's like, "What are you saying?" Well, you're out normal and all of a sudden you start talking like this, and it's like people are looking at you like you're crazy. But it's like then everybody else says they're doing it too. They go home and they're talking to their spouses and stuff, and they all went, "What are you doing?"
That's incredible. And now I got to ask you, Lee, last time we talked, Kevin, you were directing Violet Sharp. Lee, you're directing Ding Dong. So how are you guys able to, maneuver that, and is it just interchangeable where one, show's done, the next one starts and you guys just are in your role?
Oh, it's
absolutely.
crazy.
He's already had his first auditions for Spamalot, even though I tell him, stop thinking about that show. Stop thinking about that show.
Well, we roll.
You have to.
We just roll one after the other. Because when we close down on the Sunday, Monday, we start our next show.
Yes.
It's that quick?
Yep,
It's
that's what we do.
Quick.
I don't know
That
how
comes
you guys
down, and then he builds the next one. But it's taken us about 10 years. But yeah, we do probably 80-90% of a big function for every show.
Wow.
So we just kind of switch hats and assist each other, and it works. So
It's a lot of work though. So and it's stressful at times because actually we're both just 25. So we're
no, we are both very stubborn.
yeah, we're both.
And we have strong opinions about things. That's why it's taken about 10 years for us to get this seamless partnership going.
So I got to ask you this because you guys have both, acted in plays that, one of you guys have directed, it seems like. How does the relationship change when, you're working with each other on an administrative level and you're organizing shows and you're getting things going, and then now you're, a performer in the play underneath a director?
I actually love it because there's a trust. I hope he's going to say the same thing.
No.
There's a trust. I mean, I don't have to worry about him as much. I mean, other than the overall idea, or we try costumes on or something. When I have a seasoned performer, it's like, okay, because then I have a little more time to work with the new people, or even the people who have had a little experience at bad theaters. And sometimes I have to unlearn, help them.
Well,
do
and
that.
I have a
That's a
tendency,
great point.
I can turn it off. I can put on my different hats. And when I'm a director, I'm the director. And when I'm in the show, I turn it off because I have a lot of the actors come up to me. Well, wonder if we tried this. I said, "There's your director out there. Talk to her."
Yeah, and he does. He's very
Yeah.
polite about that, and so it's
because
not
it's
really
you
an issue.
have to turn it off, and because everybody has their own vision of a show.
Exactly.
And even though the show pretty much ends up the same way, her vision's a little different than mine at times.
Lots of foo-foo things on the set.
And it's really no right or wrong. It's just what you think you should do. So I really try hard to turn it off.
Well, and too, it must help too with, Kevin, when you're on the, like you said, helping those younger performers, you're experienced a hell of a lot more than, a lot of other, actors and performers where you can go, hey, maybe this, and you can, adapt on the fly. I love this. This is a great
And
partnership.
even simple things. So many people will turn their back to the audience. They don't understand the staging of the magic
I
of
like the
of
idea.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, no, you can't do that. They're like, well, how do I get to the door on the terrace? And we showed them how to walk
It's a
to
flow.
the door.
There's
It's
a flow to everything. And that's, and they have to learn that.
Well, and you hit on something, Lee, that I think's really a great point too, and it's something that I deal with at the other stuff with wrestling is not. I don't want to say I hate to pick on anybody, but some folks that were not trained the correct way, and you guys have to relearn or unlearn skills and relearn them again, then get ready for the performance. In that kind of role. Is it exciting for you guys to, help unlearn some bad habits from other folks and develop?
Well, it's been funny. I think I told you Darla Hooks is a female wrestler and champion. And here she has to be soft and sensual. She could take both the guys in a heartbeat. And so I've worked on the girliness. I bought her little panties and high heels and a long Farrah Fawcett wig.
I love this.
It's like the other night. She's supposed to move me back. She's making her move on me. And she's supposed to move me back and put me up against the flat. Well, she's moving back. She forgot to stop and almost threw me through the flat. And she said, "Oh, sorry." And I'm like, yeah, that's okay.
Down for the 3, darling. I love this. So what's been the most enjoyable part of preparing for Ding Dong in these rehearsals and, getting everything set up and going?
The set for me, first of all, it's like a playground, and Kevin built this incredible staircase, and everything about his sets is safe. So, the wall almost came down, but it is very safe and straight. And all the doors, farces need lots of doors that open and shut, and then a terrace. And then I wanted a mural because they live across from the Eiffel Tower. So 44 feet by 33 feet, every inch of this stage is used in this. And so it's like a playground. And once in a while, he's the only one, or there's one other person on stage. And that means he has to really command the space. He can't look small up there, which is why I cast this big, tall guy.
It's been a long time since I've looked small.
And I purposely cast a fairly new actor who was in Violet Sharp, who played Septimus Bank. He's really a great guy.
Awesome.
He isn't the bastard that he was on there. So, but he's diminutive. He comes up to his chest.
Right.
So you could easily imagine that he could just stomp him. But they outwit each other. So,
and that to me is the unwritten value of having a good performer like Kevin on stage, is because to me, if you don't have that prowess and you get sucked up by that huge set, then it the whole atmosphere kind of drifts and shifts away from where it needs to be. That's a great point too.
Well, you have to accept it as your house.
Yeah.
This is your house, and you move around your house a certain way, and you move around the set a certain way, because this is now my house. This is where I live. Wow. And so you feel comfortable moving around, and you do things, to feel comfortable while you're moving around. And if you're that way, the audience accepts that.
It totally makes sense, and because you can't be rigid and stiff and scared to move, where you're living at on stage. It makes a great point, and I got to ask you too at this, because this is something I think is going to be a great performance, because it's the battle of the wits, like you were saying earlier. What has been, to prepare for something like this, where you're, kind of being I hate to say it, but kind of a smug ass almost, and you're trying to outwit each other and you're bringing parts in. How do you prepare to get into that personality, that right frame of mind? Lee, you're laughing. Uh-oh.
Well, I love the two guys because they play this cat and mouse and, kind of, as I said, pissing on their territory. But then they have this camaraderie because they find out that they have things in common. So then they're kind of like, buddies. And even there's one scene where the guy says, "Oh, hold me." And so the maid comes in and thinks now, oh my God, now he's involved with him.
They think I'm sleeping with everybody.
It's a French farce, and the French just love romance in every form and every fashion. And they drink, of course, the entire show, which is an art. To pour champagne and drink much on stage, people don't understand how much practice that takes to keep going and down a whiskey or down.
Eating is actually worse.
Yeah, is worse. It is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why so?
Well, because you're talking all the time, and you have to time it. So where you eat, swallow, talk, so you don't really think about that normally, but and then you always have to have something to drink along with it. And so eating is kind of an art on stage,
Well, I didn't even think about that, because especially if you're drinking champagne and you maybe drink too much of it or get too much air, and then you're reciting a line and boom, boom, you're burping on the front row.
And people do sneeze and people do.
Oh, yes,
get
we do.
hiccups.
We do that
But
once in a while.
Barefoot in the Park was my first lead when I was like 20, and I had to eat an entire picnic on the very edge of the stage with someone who was supposed to be blind. So he just, sat there and, kind of came on to me. And I got to write up in the paper back when they did reviews because they said she ate the whole damn meal in front of people. I kept talking.
Yeah, and years ago I had to eat in front of and the audience was real close back then because we didn't even have a stage. So, I mean, the audience was actually, you could almost touch the audience. And I had to eat a sardine and onion sandwich one time, and the sardines' tails are flipping out, and the audience could smell the sardines because they knew I was eating them. They knew they were real. So it's...
Well, that's another point is to make, to connect that this is real, take them right into it, and you have to do some of those things.
Right.
Oh, man. Now, how'd you recover from the sardine and onion?
I actually liked sardines back then, so I didn't have a problem. I picked my own sardines and made my sandwich every night, and so I didn't have a problem. But the audience every night would go,
Oh my God, I love this. And, I'm really excited because, it's so cool too, to me, is to talk to you guys about your sets because you do, like you said, Lee, this set's gonna be beautiful, but the last one I saw was stunning too. Kevin, how do you design these? I mean, do you just have kind of parts that you used to build that you still have together?
Well, no, every set is different, of course. Now, there are certain things we reuse and we turn them into other things.
Okay.
But basically, I'm the artistic director, so when somebody's doing a show or I'm doing a show, I picture it in my head. You picture it, and I'm kind of crazy that way because I never put anything down on paper. When I build these sets, I build them all out of my mind. And
I do this little crude drawing, and I say, "Can you make this?"
Which makes it kind of hard for people to come up and help me because they say, "So where's your plans?" I say, "They're right here," and so I just tell them what to do, because I create a lot of times as I go. And but I've built some beautiful sets through the years, and it's a lot of fun. I wish because it would have been thousands by now that I would have built. I would have thought I would close to that. I wish I would have taken pictures of every one of them. Had a scrapbook.
Oh, that would have been cool.
I've had some really nice ones. I've had some. They're okay. But
honesty.
It depends on the show. I mean, sometimes the show.
Sometimes the directors, their vision isn't really set. And I know that's an art form, but again, you could call it stubborn, but I know exactly what I want. There's never any doubt about it. And so I do think he can create it sometimes, humming while he's creating it or swearing a little bit. Like she has to have French doors.
Son of a gun.
She has to have. I was like, could I have doors that open? I wanted every door to be different.
Yeah.
Because if you have all those doors and the front door, I needed it to be gold.
But one of the biggest and neatest ones was when I did Man of La Mancha.
Yes.
So the set itself went up so high. Man of La Mancha, you have that dungeon that you walk down into. It actually went up into the lights.
2 stories,
And so when the door opened, you saw the bottom of the door actually open, and you first saw the guy's feet when they start walking down the steps all the way down.
Oh, that's cool.
It was very cool. And then we had a grade and 2 sets of stairs.
Right.
And the working windmill.
I had a working windmill on stage.
Yes. That we had shades coming.
And
I can't even make a doghouse.
then a few years ago, we actually had a plane that was from wing to wing, 15 feet long, land on that stage. You've seen that stage. It actually landed on the stage.
No way.
And we did that every night.
Yep.
And it was up in by the lights, and we designed it so it didn't get in the way. The audience couldn't even see it. And then I was behind stage, and I put the crank and stuff on a drill. And when the cue came, I just pushed the drill and went right down on stage.
And every actor had about 2 inches to
everybody
stand
had to be in
around
the right
plane.
place.
Yeah, because it had a cast of 40
Well,
people.
and then I just did the play that goes wrong, and the whole set gets destroyed.
I heard so much great things about that play. I mean, everyone I talked to seriously said they knocked it out of the park with that, and it was just so orchestrated, and it was perfectly timed. I heard too.
Oh.
Yeah, we worked very hard on that, and
Lots
there
of
was a
bruises.
few things. There was a few things on the internet and everything about how to build a set, and I stayed away from all of it. I designed it myself in my head, and it took me a couple months to figure it out.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Well, you had a second floor that actually fell with people on it.
And then had to go back up.
Then it had to go back up
down.
every night. So yeah. So, and we had an elevator that blew up. We had all this kind of stuff. So I designed that in my head about 2 months before we started, and I had most of it built out in the shed, and then we just brought it in and put it together.
That's incredible.
And then the whole set fell at the end.
Yeah, the whole set fell down around the people. And everybody had to be in certain...
Oh, because they get hurt big time.
Oh, they could actually. This could have got killed.
Yeah,
it's that bad.
Heavy.
And so we rehearsed that. And one night, one guy was not paying attention, and somebody yelled, and he rolled over just in time when the thing came down
during the fight.
And during one of the fight scenes. Oh, so you got. And I kept
because
telling
even your hand, you don't want a hand under a falling platform.
No. Because I had to build it really solid and stiff because you couldn't do it out of the normal stuff. Because falling like that every night, it would have fell apart. And every night after every show, I walked around and checked absolutely everything. And there was a couple nights I had to change a few things because the wear and tear of just when you have something that falls and everything's made out of wood.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you have something fall, I notice that if anything separates at all, I tear it apart and redo it.
Wow. And then I couldn't even imagine though that stress because you got a show to do the next morning or the next afternoon or evening, so you're up and you got to get.
I did that a couple times, and I had it ready to go.
This is incredible. And so with the set of Ding Dong, was there anything that was too challenging with this one, or was it just some of the...
No, I wouldn't say challenging. It's just huge. I mean, it's
just
big,
yeah.
Because it goes from one end to the other. It's just gorgeous, though. And Lee does a beautiful job in decorating. That's her thing.
That's my thing.
That's her thing. And so I build it. She decorates it, and between the two of us, it turns out really nice.
Well, you guys have a great team. I mean, from you and Lee to the entire ensemble that makes sure that Alton Little Theater is going from its board to all the way down to the cast and crew, and then the technical crew that definitely needs all the love they can get. Because I was telling Lee this. I tried to do lights one time for a wrestling show. I was not asked back. I tried music. I had to fire the music guy during intermission. You ever have to do one of those numbers? But there's so much, and you guys just make it seem so easy. But that's because after all these years of doing it and really getting it done right, I mean, you guys have perfected the formula.
And it takes practice. We've talked about a lot of theater groups will meet maybe 2.5 rehearsals a week. We rehearse at least 5 times a week. And then we're there on the weekends filling in and doing the things so that we're ready for the next week.
Normal time, her and I will spend anywhere from 12 to 14 hours a day there, almost every day.
You have to love what you're doing. You have to.
We do.
Now, take me back to this. So, Ding Dong's coming up on May the 5th is the first start.
Yes.
And it runs to the
14th, which is Mother's Day. We have 2 Sunday matinees at 2, and every other evening performance is at 7:30. We're always dark on Monday and Tuesday. Although if there were overwhelming ticket sales, I suppose we could do an extra performance. He really would kill me then. He needs the rest.
My brain needs the rest.
So how long did it take to get Ding Dong going at Alton Little Theater?
It was 6 years ago that we first even applied for it. The community theater in Naples, which is again like a semi-professional theater, like we like to think of ourselves that way. They had recommended it to us. They held it over for 3 months, and Samuel French used to have the rights to it. They sold it to Concord Theatricals in London, who then took over the Paris division, and then COVID hit. So by the time I figured out how to get the rights, they're like, well, maybe, but the office is closed. No one's here, So they sent me scripts. I've had the scripts for 6 years.
Oh, talk about anxiety.
Yeah, but it was just about a little over a year ago that I finally said, could we do this? And I love it. It was done one other time in 2005, way back then, Little Theater out west. So I'm quite sure that no one else has seen this show. And because the French version is 2.5 hours long, and it is all in French. We have the accent, and 22 French phrases are used in the script. But no one has to worry if they don't know French. They will get the idea no matter what.
That's good for me because I was struggling when I was in Paris. Oh my goodness. You could have.
But Parisians love you to struggle. When you get in the countryside,
You're right.
you down in the south of France, they are very helpful. But yeah, if you go to the Louvre or anywhere, they just love for you to ask where the bathroom is, and you can't. They're like,
And they speak so fast. They
So
speak so
fast.
fast.
and that is, it's written, it's translated, and even though the guy was English, I mean London English, that it is so fast. It is written to be non-stop little fire bullets and then action going across the stage, which the maid, who is a retired school teacher, she's like, I have to run across there? Yeah, a little trot would be good.
No, and you bring up a great point with the speed of everything. You know, Kevin, when you're working with the other performers on stage, I'm sure, you know, I talk really fast. Some people talk like a CPA. You know, how is it, you know, how is that getting everybody ready in that same, you know, rhythm too, in that same timing?
Well, they're all doing very, very well. They really are.
Are they? Good.
But the problem is if you get tangled up or something, you know, it's hard to get back on track sometimes. I'm a very good ad-libber, so, you know, I can jump in and say just about anything, but then they're looking at me like, what?
Oh, and then you get lost. Yeah.
And particularly when you're an inexperienced performer, you're already more nervous. And so if you have inhabited the character, you ought to know what your character eats for lunch. And you can talk like your character, but I can see the deer in the headlights a little bit. But we practice the runs. There's 5 different, what I call the who's on first runs, where there's a page or a page and a half of it just is going like that, and I just make them do it over and over and over and over like that.
Well, that's good. Repetition's your friend. Let's do it again, you know?
Oh, I'm big on repetition.
Yeah, he
I'm
is.
huge
He
on
is.
that.
Well, and speaking of, you know, we've been talking for almost 30 minutes now.
Have you really?
I love this because, you know, whenever I get to talk to you guys, it's so fun because your passion always comes through, and it shows why, you know, Alton Little Theater has been around for 90 years and will be for another 90 because of folks like yourself.
And there are days I feel like I'm 90. So.
And I wanted to ask you, Art, because I've had so many text questions this last week about your summer acting courses.
Yes.
Are they filled up?
The younger group is. The
That's
8 to 11
okay.
is filled up, but we could use a few more teenagers, you
What
know,
age group is
13
that?
to 17.
13 to 17. And how do they reach out to you guys to
Oh, they
register?
can just call the theater 462-3205-618 in the beginning of that. And we can now scan the form to them and email their parents, and then their parents, you know, can drop by with a check or send it the next day. I do a little interview on the phone. I was trying to do it in person, and it was so hard with the kids in
luck.
school.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure about allergies, any physical limitations. We definitely need to know who's bringing them, who's picking them
Yeah.
up. The kids are never unsupervised, and there's always 2 adults
That's huge to
in the
know.
room. Yeah, keeping the kids safe, but having them have a great experience is our goal. And we've been looking at your space here. If this gets to be a big idea, we just could come down
Telling you-
here. Yeah.
I'm telling you what, more the merrier. I'm getting
Yeah.
lonely, you know? Well, that's fantastic. And I wanted to break down really fast, too, the season tickets before I let you guys go today, because I was looking on our shop local section of Riverbender, and a great
Yes.
discount for Alton Little Theater season tickets is available until the
31st.
The 31st of May.
$80 for 5 main stage shows, and they get a
crazy.
$5 coupon they can use for Spamalot, the 2 concerts,
Yeah.
the Actors
Well, see,
Studio
we try to
Series.
explain to everybody,
Yeah.
even if they can't see all the shows, they're still ahead of the game. Because, and we tell them, give those to somebody that's never been.
Thank you. Yes.
You know, and because you go over to St. Louis, you're spending that or more for one
Hundreds,
ticket.
on parking.
Yeah, almost.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
you want a beer, it's $20 at Busch Stadium.
So
You know?
it's like,
exactly.
you know, I don't understand. And people go, well, I may not be here for all of them. Okay. So you may not see all of them. You're still ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Because if they bought them separately, they pay more for them.
Yeah. Well, that's, to me, I'm right there with you, because I'm right there I'm getting ready to make the jump, because I'm thinking, well, I get at least 5 shows. If I can't make one, I can send my little cousin and get her
Yes.
familiarized with Alton Little Theater and, you know, the
Yes.
performance side of it. so many different things to do. And for the mothers out there, or the sons, daughters for your mom, you have 5 different shows to go experience with your mom if you want to do season tickets for Mother's Day, or just one show, because I'm excited about Ding Dong. I'm going to be laughing my ass off. I can tell this. I can just tell right off the bat.
And put a little plug in. He's having his, not callbacks, but his 3rd auditions for Spam-A-Lot on Saturday at 10 a.m. And he needs some guys.
Oh, that's right. Well, and too, so I was talking to LEE COX about this Spam-A-Lot. I think I could do this.
I think
I could. I could put on some tights and have a good time. But, you know, I want to ask you more about this, too, before I let you guys go, because this is going to be a very big performance.
Yes.
You know, and Spam-A-Lot, when you throw a name like Monty Python out there, that connects with the public right away. What can we expect right off the bat as the auditions are starting to get underway?
Craziness. Because that's what kind of show it is.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're dragging people across stage saying, "Bring in your dead," and I mean and the guy that's being drugged in goes, "But I'm not dead yet." So that's the kind of stuff it is. So that's
86 costumes.
Yes. It's just it's a typical, you know, Mighty Python. It's typical. And you don't know what's going to happen from time to time. I mean, they go to battle and the people that they're fighting throw cattle at them. So it's that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like...
And Eric Idle, the author, we got the sound effects and everything, and he loves to be the voice of God, and he loves to do the little intro and invite people, and then he says, "Ignore everything I said."
And don't look up my dress.
Look up my dress.
Oh my God. We are going to be having fun all summer long with Alt Little Theater. Yeah. And is there anything else we need to hit on before I let you guys go today and we talk next Thursday?
Well, look on the website that you guys do a fabulous website for us. You can see all the productions. You can see how to get tickets. The classes, auditions coming up are listed there. So John and Ashley, do a great job.
They do, but I love it because you guys are very transparent about anything going on. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there on the site. You can find it, even on your Facebooks. I just, anytime I need to figure out what you guys are up to, I just go, Little Theater, and look, they're doing this today.
Yeah, we try and make it easy.
Well, it's weird because sometimes a lot of folks still haven't really figured out the social media thing yet. So, I mean, I hate to be the lazy millennial, but sometimes I need to be told what you guys are doing.
Yes. And your generation does it on your phone. We still have people who read the paper and want it in print, or they want to come in because they're not going to give us our credit card number.
Yeah. And there's a certain amount of people that says, "Well, just call us. Let us know what you're doing."
So, I'll call 10,000 people today.
We'll get right on that.
Yeah, go ahead. Do they do robocalls for Alt Little Theater? I was going to tell you this. Now you brought up the newspaper thing. I was driving on 270 on the war zone is what I call it. You put your helmet on and just keep going. And I'm looking over. There is an older gentleman reading a newspaper and driving 270.
Oh, yes.
How is that possible?
I saw a guy over there one time eating a full breakfast with a tray on his lap going 70 miles an hour.
Or the ladies who put on their makeup for work. I'm like, I don't know, because I call it the war zone too. I worked there for 40 years, and I'm so glad I'm not working there anymore.
I had 4 years. I felt like a decade, I couldn't imagine 40.
I did 13 over there, and I'm so glad we don't have to go over
And
anymore.
at night, it's nearly impossible. You're like, the cones are they marking it or telling you don't go there?
Well, how many times are you going to repaint the lanes, too?
Yes.
And you can avoid all of the nightmares of 270.
By coming to Alton Little Theater.
By coming to Alton Little Theater, especially May 5th through the 14th with matinees on the 7th and the 14th at 2 p.m. for Mother's Day. Come on, that's the win-win. Kevin Frakes, LEE COX. We'll talk next Thursday.
Okay,
thank you.
Great, thank you.
9:48 on this 27th day of April. We'll take a quick break, and we're already wrapping up the 9 o'clock. Time flies on a Thursday in downtown Alton.